Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. I appreciate all of your patience as I was out for a while with the virus that we all know about, and it was no joke. And if you guys are going through it or you have my sympathies. This stuff is no joke. So today's video, we're not going to do a whole lot of talking. We got UFO sighting footage captured down here on Earth, strange or anomalous structures on our moon, and a lot of cool stuff I want to show you guys and get your opinions on today. So this first piece of UFO video was captured above what I was told is Uruguay, and there is a female speaking, and if any of you guys can give me a basic rundown of what she's saying, then kudos, you can do that down in the comments. I don't know if she sees this because I don't know exactly what she's saying, but she seems to be recording this beautiful building or chapel or whatever it is, and in the distance we see what we can only describe because of the resolution is a white orb. It sort of looks more oval shaped than a perfect circle, basically just sitting in the sky. It may be slightly moving downwards, and it looks as if it's being hit by the sun. It doesn't look like it's emanating the light because we can see some shadow around it as well as a hot spot right as the sun is hitting it. And what's so crazy about this footage is what you are seeing here. What looks like a bird potentially or possibly flies near the object. It seemingly no clips or glitches out of this dimension in an instant.
Se ve como una lucecita, ahí está un poco más grande, pero en realidad eso se movió de costado a lo largo. Ahí viene bajando, a ver si no sé si se logra ver. Y no sé qué es como algo que está volando ahí con una punta blanca, pero no logro ver exacto qué es. Pero obviamente que tiene como un movimiento muy extraño, ahí está bajando. Ahí lo ven cómo se mueve. Ahí se quedó quieto. Yo no sé si se logra ver en el video, espero que sí. Ahí, a ver si ahí algo se ve. Ahí algo se ve. Hice un zoom. Ahí está bajando. Baja y ahora se desapareció. Bueno, algo creo que quedó grabado.
Here you're seeing some zoomed in and colored, enhanced versions and shots of this thing, but this is pretty amazing to me. It would be one thing if we had, simply a UFO sort of just hovering in the daytime sky, but this thing interacts with what appears to me to be a bird, flying vertically or possibly horizontally, or it could just simply be another UFO altogether. But all I see is a smaller, white-looking object blasting up towards this UFO or to where it passes by the UFO. And the UFO, it doesn't fly away, it doesn't jet away. It literally vanishes in an instant, in the blink of an eye, in a millisecond, and we're talking about an object potentially built by a civilization millions of years ahead of the curve than us, and you factor in anti-gravity, quantum physics, and these things have been seen appearing, not only disappearing like you're seeing in the footage here, but reappearing right back into the sky, essentially out of nothing, as if they are jumping dimensions. They are jumping in and then jumping out. In the blink of an eye, it's gone, as you're seeing here. So I thought this was pretty awesome footage. Again, above Uruguay, so tell me what you guys think down below. Pretty crazy stuff. Scientists have already stated and are in agreement that there are at least, I think it's like 12 dimensions that we know of, or that we have proven exist on top of the dimension that we are in. And there are potentially infinite dimensions that we cannot see, smell, taste, hear, where these UFOs can pop right in and pop out and go into other dimensions. So pretty crazy stuff. What is this lady saying? Now, the next UFO clip is really straightforward, and another favorite topic of mine, which I've posted videos on, and I think one of my most popular videos with around 10 to 15 million views is an International Space Station UFO clip, or ISS UFO clip, and that's what you're going to see now. Now, this was also sent to me, and the way these are typically discovered and the way I have discovered them myself is by going to the live feed via the cameras that are attached to the space station, and you basically just sit, record, and watch for something strange to happen, and it would appear someone has captured an object. The object begins to come into frame from right to left, would seem to then stop and hover above the Earth, change directions for a moment, before finally making a sort of Z or zigzag pattern and deciding to continue on its original trajectory before flying away into the darkness of space. So you're seeing the footage here, and then we'll show you a sped up version of this unknown space-faring object. Okay guys, so yeah, pretty awesome footage. I've seen, a lot of strangeness occur on cameras that belong to NASA and that are attached to the space stations or the space shuttles, but there's probably only a handful that I could say I've seen that shows some really, really plain as day unusual activity, and this would have to be one of them, unless it's fake and it doesn't look to be, because the Earth is moving. I've seen enough. I've seen thousands of hours of ISS live stream footage. My only question is, why did they not cut the feed like they usually do when UFOs like this appear in the distance? And the fact that this object zigzagged before changing directions, zigging back and heading on its original route, that was pretty crazy to me. So next, I want to show you two specific images, or photos actually, of anomalous or just bizarre things that I actually discovered simply doing good old research work, which is going through image or photo after photo and analyzing every pixel of it and looking for strange things. So this, my friends, is a high-resolution, extremely high-resolution photograph of the lunar surface of our moon that was snapped during the Apollo 17 mission. And so they were above the moon and they were snapping pictures outside of the portholes on the lunar orbiter. So we have this beautiful shot showing the massive and distinct differences in terrain on the moon, where you go from a virtually flat desert-like landscape to very mountainous and rugged. And I have looked over this photo a lot, and there's just a lot of strange things on it. Things that look like pipes or hoses or just a massive underground complex or piping system or tubes, whatever you want to call it. And I'll show you some of those here. And we know that there are pipes or tubes that expand across the moon's surface. How do we know this? Well, because we have photographic evidence of it, as you're seeing in this Apollo image here. Again, official NASA photograph, and zoomed in on this particular crater, we see what can only be described as a pipe or a tube that is exiting one rim, going across with the sunlight hitting it. The pipe goes back into shadow into the opposite crater rim. So images like this, they're not up for interpretation. it is what it is. Probably the craziest thing I discovered within this photo, I want to get your take on, and that I've shown a couple of other people, and they were like, wow, definitely feature that, Tyler. If we zoom down, and again, this is a very high resolution image. I mean, you can just zoom and zoom for days. But down in a particular crater that doesn't seem any different than the others, and sort of peeking out from the darkness, if you will, because we have the sunlight, you know, it's shining down on the moon at a bit of a fairly extreme angle, so the sun would be to the right, and it's shining down from right to left. So what you're seeing is that everything being hit from the sun is casting a shadow back into the left behind it, and it's illuminating whatever is in its line of sight, including what I can only describe as a massive structure that is either glowing on its own or that is being partially illuminated by, you know, some scattered sunlight that's barely hitting the inside left rim of the crater, but nonetheless looks like a massive alien object spanning the entire inside of the crater. And so here we are, zoomed in, and even at this zoom, we have amazing detail, and I'm not even zoomed in all the way. You can see the rocks, you can see other, you know, very small craters. We see this sort of dark triangular shadow being cast down next to the crater here on the right, which means that there is a triangular hill that you can't really see because we're looking straight down at it, but if you were looking at a pyramid, this is what the shadow would look like. So we potentially have a pyramid type structure sitting directly next to this crater. You know, half of it is in shadow here. You can see the obvious pyramidal shape to it here in the darkness. But more importantly, beside it is this, I don't know what. Is this, you know, another one of these massive tubes or a ship of some sort or a base inside of this crater? And the more you zoom in, the more you start seeing these separate light sources on this object, and the object looks like it's being lit up. It's like bright on the top, and then the bottom is more in shadow until it disappears. So it's got light and shadow to it, or it appears to. It also has other small lights and dots, little pinpoints of light here. One could describe as looking at a giant skyscraper at night and all of the different lights that were turned on and off on each floor. You know, that's the kind of impression it gives me. And I don't know how big this crater is, but judging from the height that the orbiter or the lander was when they snapped the photo, I would have to say probably, you know, a couple of miles in diameter, give or take. You know, a little bit more, a little bit less. But look at this thing. This looks like a city almost, hiding here in the darkness. And as I went across the image horizontally, this object here, this structure inside of this crater with what appear to be lights coming from it, many hundreds or, you know, whatever. I don't know how many, but at least 20 or 30 lights that we can see coming from it do not appear in any other crater in this photo, nor at the top of the photo, from one edge of the photo to the other. So that basically, you know, it kind of rules out that this is a photography glitch or error or scanning effect, because it does not appear in any other crater or portion of the photo for that matter. It only appears in this one single crater. And like I said earlier, the thing looks like it's being illuminated more at the top than it does toward the bottom, and is right almost, you know, completely in the center of this moon crater with the pyramidal structure right next to it. So I don't know, guys, but it definitely piqued my interest. Could this be a massive alien base inside a moon crater? You know, most people say that's where an alien base would be to any person with mild intelligence. If you're going to hide it, put it inside of a dark crater. So tell me what you guys think about this down below. And so lastly today, I want to show you another photograph, and it's extremely high res as well. And this is from the Apollo 7 mission. So we hadn't gone to the moon yet. We were basically practicing, and we were orbiting Earth, and we were snapping pictures down at planet Earth of the oceans and the clouds, which you're seeing here. And this photo is snapped while they were just above Mexico on the northern coast of the Yucatan, and we can see the Gulf of Mexico, which is the ocean right next to this giant landmass with a bunch of cloud cover above it. and this was snapped from space. Beautiful photograph. And so as I was looking at it and I began zooming in at the ocean to see if it had maybe picked up something, as I zoomed in and it becomes fairly obvious without even zooming all the way in, there appears to me to be a massive circular or spherical object underneath the waters that can only be seen and snapped on camera from space. And I'm talking about this area right here. And if you look around it, there appear to be these massive gashes or trenches dug into the ocean floor, or possibly a wave pattern that is swirling around this massive circular object under the water here. But either way, it was pretty crazy to me. And I was just skipping through Apollo photographs when I, happened to zoom in and be like, okay, that is strange. Now, I don't know about all the land masses that are off of the coast of Mexico and the Yucatan, so is this something that I just don't know what I'm talking about? I would think it would have been described or spoken about in the information on the file from the official NASA website that the photograph can be found on and downloaded, and there was no mention of a massive spherical object surrounded by these sort of long arms coming out of each side of it around it. Tell me what you think about this down below. I'll put the link to it as well, and you guys can download the high-resolution version. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Like I said before, thanks for your patience. Check out that new AI-generated merch, and if anything else, just throw the vid a like if you enjoyed it. So stay tuned, guys. Stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one.